We welcome you to Salem, Virginia. It is our second game of day one. Lincoln Rose, Sidney Gearbracht with you here on NCAA.com. The 2019 national champions are in their third straight D3 championship as they take on the Vikings of Berry, making their first ever appearance to this final week. The TLU Bulldogs, Berry Vikings about to collide as the winner will face Christopher Newport University CNU tomorrow in the winner's bracket later on tomorrow night, while the team that comes up short in this matchup will be up bright and early tomorrow. 11 a.m. will be the opening start time for that elimination game, with the season wrapping up in a matchup against WPI. But again, so many great stories and journeys for these teams to get here. As we mentioned, the Bulldogs were last year's national runner-up as they arrived last year as your defending national champions. In the circle, Sydney Wallette, one of the two Wallette sisters who have been synonymous with the really great successful times here at TLU under head coach Wade Wilson. It's the Berry Vikings who are the 5 seed this week. Bulldogs are the 4 seed. As Berry with White leading off here in the top of the first facing Wallette. That's Katie White, your newcomer of the year and first team all-conference performer in the Southern Athletic Association, the SAA. Freshman out of Atlanta, was also first team all-region as named this past postseason. Those are some Seagulls right behind home plate. They've flown in from Maryland as one of the great traditional powerhouses right there of Salisbury University. The 2-1 from Wallette. Left side, shortstop Faith Hernandez across the diamond, not in time to get the speedy White. As Katie White sets the table with an infield single.
Well, and Katie White having a hell of a freshman year, probably just over 400 by now, is able to beat this out. Puts her bat on the ball, does what she can with that pitch. Maybe not the pitch she wanted, but the pitch she got. Able to start it off for Berry.
Gives way to Riley Jackson with White the run on first. Jackson's second team all-conference, the sophomore from Sugar Hill, Georgia, hitting .371 this season. Katie White on the base pass this year, 17 of 19 in the stolen base department. Shot up the middle, it'll get through, and it's back-to-back singles for the Vikings here early on.
Lincoln, it took WPI and CNU a little bit to settle in the first couple innings. Nice to see Berry coming out with some good swings early in their at-bats and early in the game.
2 for 2 against Wallette, and all of a sudden now it's Anna Jackson, your National Catcher of the Year, is named by the NFCA this week. She's also your Player of the Year in the SAA. Jackson out of Suwanee, Georgia, the sophomore, first team all-region. Still nobody out, 2 on, and the flock is departing. As the Seagulls will have a matchup later on tonight. Katie White led off with the infield single. Stands in scoring position after Riley Jackson's liner up the middle. They got through for a second straight hit. And the 1-1 from Sydney Wallette to Anna Jackson.
Beautiful off speed there from Wallette. Good spot, nice pace.
Sydney's sister, Skylar Wallette, wrapping up her career last year here in Salem with the Bulldogs. Part of that national championship team in 2019. TLU, Texas Lutheran University, out of Seguin, Texas. That's between Austin and San Antonio in Central Texas. Berry Vikings from Mount Berry, Georgia. The 1-2 from Wallette. And the count will level, nobody out, still 2 on here for Berry. 5th NCAA postseason for Berry. It's their first since 2018. I mentioned their first ever super regional victory has them here for the first time. And the count goes full to the number 3 hitter, Anna Jackson, with 2 on and nobody out.
Definitely seeing Willette pitch to a scouting report. First time we've seen some off-speed pitches.
Top of the first, payoff pitch. That one punched over the outstretched glove of Martin. They will send the runner home as it carries all the way to the wall. And Berry on the board, a slip around second, but Anna Jackson able to get back in time after her RBI base hit. Brings home Katie White. So Berry strikes first here in the top half of the first.
Hard hit on the ball on the outside corner of the plate, but a miss from the TLU center fielder. Hard hit ball, you know it's not going anywhere. Grass may be a little wet.
Yeah, it's officially a single and an error on the center fielder Rains. So 3 straight singles leads to a run.
Yep.
Here's Morgan Fry. First pitch she sees gets through, and Berry producing runs 1 single at a time. And as they throw the ball around, it'll concede an extra 60 feet to Morgan Fry. 4 batters for Berry, 4 hits here in Salem.
Yeah, again, Berry coming out swinging, doing a good job settling in. We saw Jackson settle into her at bat, probably the most of the 4 hitters that we've seen so far, which are taking their hacks the first couple pitches.
So Riley Jackson was able to score. Anna Jackson goes to third. Insurance on the board.
I'm taking a look at some of the hits that Berry's gotten so far, right? They're not necessarily the most hard hit ball, and they're putting it on the ground, forcing the defense to make a play. That's what you want.
James Fuquay comes out, your pitching coach for Wade Wilson's staff. Emily Stanley in her 3rd year at the helm of this Berry's program after being an assistant for 5 years. And right now, the Bulldogs are being beaten at their own game. They're the ones who usually have the pedal floored non-stop, no mercy. That has gotten them to the national stage each of the past 2 tournaments and for a 3rd straight year now. Here's Shelby Daniels, 2nd team all-conference. Puts down a bunt. That's a fair ball. Nobody was covering home and now in a pickle. The hesitation will cost Anna Jackson as they lose their lead runner. Not just that, but a beautiful bunt wasted. Boy, she had to commit.
And that's one way to get the first out of the inning.
Designated player, number 26, Blair Hall.
So Daniel gets the bunt down, ultimately reaches on a fielder's choice officially.
And a beautiful bunt set down there.
But just did not get far enough away from the plate to make Jackson feel comfortable that she could get home, but at which point she was more than halfway home and didn't stand a chance. Here's Blair Hall. The sophomore, 2nd team all-conference, is also your number 2 pitcher for Berry. That one's down the line, but foul. What a start here in the top half of the first. 4 straight singles to begin the ball game. Berry with 2 runs on the board. They did give up an out a moment ago. So runners on 2nd and 1st for the DP Hall. This year hitting .346 with 4 home runs. Big cut from Hall. This is her first softball season in over 4 years after her dad passed away 4 years ago. She put her softball pursuits on pause, but decided to kickstart things here with a very successful run with Berry. And just a sophomore now. Earlier this year had the first perfect game in Berry's history. This is a young program, did not start until 2010. Sixth batter this inning. Another foul ball pulled off the bat of Blair Hall.
Seeing both foul ball and some of the hits we've seen so far this inning, Berry really doing a good job of putting the ball on the ground, but still only hitting the top half. So losing a little bit of their power with their bat angle. That's just a slight tweak in timing and bat angle.
Sometimes I wonder if we watch the action on the field too much and don't don't have enough attention on the dugout. Again, Blair Hall, I mean, how about this accomplishment? I mentioned not only does she have your first perfect game in program history, but she's also produced a game-winning home run in the Super Regionals. Truly a threat, whether she's in the circle or at the plate. In a moment, the payoff pitch from Wallette. And that's going to get down. Berry's going to try to add more here. Coming home is Fry. And as the ball is not cut off, Hall will take second as well. It's an RBI single for Blair Hall. It's the third run for Berry. And they've done it with 5 singles here in the first inning.
And a great adjustment there from Hall. Again, much better bat angle. Chooses a great pitch on the outside corner. Gets some power there. Also really great situational hitting. Making sure you're giving your teammates time to get around. And 2 more runs on the board.
What a start here in Salem for Berry, their first ever trip to the national championship. And all of a sudden, we're into the bottom third of the order in the first inning. Abby Gamble from Villarica, Georgia, the senior. Really one of your leaders on this team. They're going to give a wrist protector to Hall, who's running over on second. The reason for a pause in the action is you see Daniel, who reached on the fielder's choice, now standing on third. First base unoccupied. Play would be at the plate. That would be your top priority. Bulldogs perhaps thought they had finally caught a break when they got Jackson out between third and home. That's still your only out this inning.
We talked a lot about how important momentum is, especially in that first game. That could have been a really key moment for TLU to take back some of that momentum, or cut some of Berry's momentum in half, rather. But Berry's done a good job of keeping their foot on the gas pedal.
And Sydney Wallette, your starting pitcher today, 12-3 on the year with a .96 ERA. Berry already 3 runs, looking for more. And second out as Wallette picks up her first strikeout victim.
Wallette again seeing some success with that off-speed pitch. Really beautiful spin on that. Floats in.
Sophomore Sydney Maroney in the 8-hole, better than 300 batting average on the year at .303 with 20 RBI. We saw Sydney Wallette in the circle last year here in Salem. She went 2-1 in her 4 appearances, a couple of starts. As she and Strother, the All-American, are back this year in the circle, guiding the Bulldogs. It's been a bumpy start here for TLU. Last year's runner-up, and before that, your defending national champions. Only team back from last year's 8 squads here in Salem.
Well, and Berry's done a really good job of preparing for Wallette, because Wallette is one of the top 10 in Division III right now in ERA, as dominant of a pitcher as there is in this division. So doing a good job of keeping Wallette off balance, and that's what you got to do in a tournament like this.
Wallette hoping to strand a couple of Vikings in scoring position here. Daniel on third, Hall on second. And Sydney Maroney trying to extend already a fruitful inning. TLU swept Belhaven in the Super Regional, while Berry swept Bethel. Goddard chasing outside edge. Second straight strikeout for Sydney Wallette to finally close out the first, but not before the Berry Vikings make their debut in Salem, bringing 8 to the plate and scoring 3.
One error committed by TLU. And second base, Morgan Fry over at first. Anna Jackson will be handling the catching duties to get things going for Berry.
Well, we're told an inning-ending double play is a pitcher's best friend, but being spotted a 3-run lead going into the bottom half of the first is pretty darn close. It is Blair Hall who gets the nod in the circle. One of, you could say, 3 aces for this Berry staff. She wound up being second-team all-conference this year. I mentioned already has a perfect game this season in her return to the sport after a 4-year hiatus. As for Blair, she is 9-2 on the year, 51 strikeouts in 76 innings. Opposing hitters batting 193, but she's facing a good one, the All-American Kelly Jordan. And if Kelly can get on the base paths, pretty good chance we get to see her touch home. She is the all-time leading stolen base queen in Division III. The 0-1. Three runs on 5 singles for Berry in the top of the first. To give Hall the insurance to work with here. She becomes the first Viking pitcher to ever throw a pitch in the championship. Only one senior, a couple of juniors on this Berry squad. Contrast that with a CNU team that was virtually all seniors in the first game, and Kelly Jordan out on strikes. That is a huge out, keeping her off the base paths.
Batting second, the right fielder, number 4, Maddie Johnson.
We love to see Hall capitalizing on some of that momentum that her team generated for her offensively. And a beautiful pitch there, outside corner, making quick work. TLU leadoff.
So the All-American down on strikes. Here's Maddie Johnson, the sophomore from Round Rock, Texas. Really a triple threat bunt, slap, can hit for power. Has left a stamp on some big games this year. Not chasing that one, 1-1. Johnson hitting .427 on the year, no home runs, but 18 RBI. And just got a piece of it off the edge of the barrel. Well,
Johnson, one of those triple threat players, able to bunt, slap, and then hit for power, but also has that it factor in big games. So looking forward to seeing that from Johnson throughout this tournament.
Unable to get a piece of that. That is back-to-back strikeouts for Blair Hall.
Batting third for the Bulldogs.
Bulldogs, champions of the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference, a league that they have dominated since joining.
Hall making quick work again of another TLU batter with that screwball tailing away from that left-handed hitter.
Brings up Casey Martin, your player of the year in the conference. The senior hitting .441 with 31 RBI. Last year here in Salem went 3 for 13 with 3 walks and 3 runs. Bulldogs didn't have the offensive numbers that they put up in their championship season, but still made it and forced the, if necessary, championship game last year against eventual champions Virginia Wesleyan, as they would win the second game on that final day, forcing a third. Third straight and third overall national championship appearance for TLU. The 1-2. Already 2 strikeouts for Blair Hall. Was hoping to find a third one there. Martin out of Berry, Texas, just south of Houston. And again, that's respect for the pitcher when you're just throwing the bat out there, hoping to make something happen, but nothing does come. Blair Hall steps into the circle with a 3-run lead and exits the circle with a 3-run advantage as they'll re-grab their bats for the top of the second for the Vikings.
Tell the world you're here in the number 9 position in the Berry batting order as we start the second inning. The center fielder, number 12, Leah.
Quickly on to the top half of the second here in our second game of the day. First game of the week for TLU as well as Berry. In rows along with Sydney Gearbracht as Sydney Wallette back in the circle Gave up 5 singles in that first inning. It led to 3 runs for Berry. Berry now back looking for more. The only individual in the starting lineup who did not get to swing a bat, doing so right here. It's Thornton with a chopper. Hernandez across the diamond in time, and Sydney Wallette has to like the return on that investment. 1 pitch, 1 out.
And a great response there from Wallette after a bit of a tough first inning. Berry coming out hot with the bats, swinging early, swinging often. Wallette getting an opportunity to settle in here.
Here's the first woman who crossed the plate today. Katie White singled in the first, eventually brought around by her teammates. We're going to ask her to return some of that dirt before she leaves. We see Milliken make its way into the venue, as we've already spotted Salisbury as well. A 1-1 offering coming up from Wallette. Mentioned just a sophomore, last year as a freshman. Getting to overlap with her sister Skylar.
These past couple pitches are the Wallette we expected to see coming into this game.
She's out of Corpus Christi. And just off the mark.
And you're really seeing Wallette get on top of her drop ball with her body language. Doing whatever she can to get her body and her hand on top of the ball. Give it some nice spin. Get it drop out of the zone.
This will be foul and out of play. 4 games today, 4 games tomorrow. The difference between today and tomorrow is tomorrow we start introducing elimination games. Boy, WPI put up a fight against CNU. As that's a CNU team, your number 1 seed that's now 45-1 on the year. 1 loss all year. They've won their last 20 now. And WPI, boy, every time they were down, they seem to have a rally in them for a team that only has 13 healthy players. Here's the payoff pitch from Wallette to White. Got her. So after White singled back in the first, Sydney Wallette bounces back, able to strike her out for out number 2.
Again, Wallette bouncing back nicely. And to your point, Lincoln, speaking of bouncing back, that WPI team got a lot of fight in them. Engineers are incredibly scrappy. Lost Sydney Russell today, mid-game, but hopefully she'll be back later in this tournament because WPI's got a little bit of work in them.
It was encouraging just to see her with an ice pack after she collided with the wall. That ball gets through off the bat of Riley Jackson. Riley Jackson is 2 for 2, and we're just in the 2nd inning. Boy, that ball just found its way past a couple of gloves of Wallette and Hernandez.
Yeah, it looked like there was almost like it took the left side of the field off guard.
I said Wallette and Hernandez, D and Hernandez. So a 2-out hit from Riley Jackson. Now Anna Jackson. Anna singled last inning. I mentioned she is your National Catcher of the Year. Pretty good with the bat as well. And she's now hitting right at about 400. A little off-speed ball that finally dies down, but a little too late. Late on the swing. Hernandez at first, able to get to the bag in time, and there's your 3rd out. So Berry will leave its 3rd base runner on the base paths today, but still a 3-run lead intact. TLU, your home team, looking to finally answer in the home half of the 2nd. We probably are. Home half of the 2nd inning. Blair Hall gets your starting nod today for this Berry pitching staff that has 3 very capable starters, along with Hannah Gore and Madison Hollis. But it's Hall, the sophomore from Calhoun, Georgia, who's getting her 11th starting nod on the year. And before she ever threw her first pitch, already had a 3-run lead. It's a Bulldogs team, though, that if you don't keep scoring, they're eventually going to probably put together some innings and that's going to help them with a free pass as Laura Hernandez hit by a pitch.
Looked like it just grazed the thigh of Laura Hernandez. And take what you can get. Got to eliminate the free passes as much as possible. See if TLU is able to capitalize on the free pass, free 60 feet.
Hernandez last year 3 for 6, including a pinch hit home run for the Bulldogs. A couple of RBI last year. Here's Bailey Hudgens. And that ball gets through. Again, the Bulldogs capable of putting several crooked numbers on the scoreboard before it's all said and done. So after they were kept at bay in the first, looking to answer here in the second.
And an outside pitch, but the barrel on it in between that 5-6 hole. Again, what we've seen all day. Teams aren't trying to swing out of their shoes, not trying to do too much. Just focusing on putting the bat on the ball, choosing good pitches.
Here's Faith Hernandez. Really stepped up this year as a freshman with her bat, as well as her performance out there at short with her glove. Faith hitting .388 in her first year of college. Bulldogs on a 26-game winning streak coming into Salem. They have swept their way through the postseason, both conference tournament and NCAA regionals and super regionals so far. Now their first game against Belhaven last weekend did go 8 innings, but they were able to prevail 2-1. The clincher in game 2, 6-2, a little less stressful. No shortage of run rule victories in the regional. Caught looking at strike 3. Hernandez down on strikes. First batter retired here in the second.
Try to give a nod to Hall. Doing a good job of just utilizing that inside corner, off speed. Looked like Hernandez actually missed the cue to lay down a bunt twice. I'm just not able to capitalize.
So Sarah Metzer swinging a bat for the first time, your catcher. As that one hangs up there, no place for the runners to go. 2 away. So first 2 batters reach. They have not been able to move since. A strikeout and now a pop out.
Gamble does a good job of catching or calling that ball immediately once it's hit. And the kicker with a ball that scrapes the clouds like that is you know that it has a lot of English on it. So you have to make sure that you've got it in your glove for sure. It looks routine, sometimes they're not.
Chastity Rains out of the 8th spot among your returners from last year. These days she patrols center field. Last year she was your 3rd baseman. She was our Elite 90 winner last year. We saw a WPI student athlete get that award this year. Top scholar athlete to make it here to the final week in D3 softball. Chastity's from the greater Houston area. All of Texas is the greater Houston area, isn't it? And she's from Spring, Texas. Last year she was 2 for 13 with a couple of runs batted in. Trying to bring home some teammates here. She represents the tying run at the plate. 1-2. Just got a piece of it as the count holds.
And a good indicator whether a hitter is right on it but maybe just missed is when that ball's felled straight back. So good cue for pitcher catcher. Maybe throw something off speed, throw something off the plate.
And off speed, fought straight back. This inning began with Laura Hernandez's first pitch being hit by the pitch. Bailey Hudgens followed with a single. They are still on 2nd and 1st after a strikeout and a pop out, as Blair Hall has a chance to get out of this inning unscathed. 1 strike away perhaps against Chastity Rains. Left side, just need to touch 3rd. The force is Jackson able to put her left foot on the bag. 5 Bulldogs come to the plate. It was a promising start, but they leave the second inning, still trailing by 3 to the Vikings. Where'd you go? Well, it was starting to look like Laura Hernandez was going to get that Sydney Wallette was going to get a little bit of help. But instead, it is still a 3-run deficit. Burden on her to keep it just a 3-run affair. And back to Morgan Fry, who singled back in the first, leads off here in the third. Fry scored that third and final run of the first inning.
And Wallette doesn't have quite as much control over that drop ball in inning 1 as she has in innings 2 and potentially 3.
Fry's 12 home runs this year are the school record for Berry in a single season. 422 hitter with 40 RBI.
Definitely not a sophomore slump.
I mentioned it's a young program, so plenty of opportunities to write the records. A big cut on the 1-1. She was looking for a baker's dozen right there. We saw, I believe, at least 5 home runs in that first game.
Mm-hmm.
So the wind, if not working for you, is not working against you. So far here at Moyer Sports Complex. As Wallette, her next offering, fought foul. One, two. I was about to say, this is a nice at bat for Morgan Fry, just eating up some pitches, and sure enough, she passes on some knowledge to Daniel before Daniel steps up to the plate.
Well, again, Wallette really using that drop ball. This time getting some swings and misses. The first inning was not getting an opportunity to even work the ladder on that pitch. Wasn't even settling in to the at-bats enough. The Berry's bat so hot that first inning.
Shelby Daniels fouls that one off her own leg. Second team all-conference this year in the Southern Athletic Association.
Good pitch choice. A little bit behind. Again, we talked earlier about how important it was going to be to split the ball in half, seeing Berry chop at the top half of the ball.
Wallette just off the mark with that one. 11 players for Berry receiving all conference honors this year. Mentioned the program just started in 2010, but already 7 regular season titles, 5 tournament titles, and of course those tournament titles are the important ones because with that comes the automatic berth into the NCAA tournaments for now 5 years. First of which came in 2015. Left side, Hernandez, it's short, can't hang on to it, and that will allow Daniel to reach with 1 out.
The designated player, number 26, Blair Hall.
Well hit ball right at Hernandez. Hernandez kind of sits on it though, doesn't get a chance to decide which bounce she's going to play it off of. Loses an opportunity for an out there.
Second error of the ball game for the Bulldogs. Here's your pitcher trying to help herself out. Instead, Hernandez squeezes that liner. No chance for the double play.
Second base, number 17, Abby Gamble.
And Abby Gamble struck out back in the first. Comes up with 2 outs here. Daniel on. After she reached on the infield miscue. Second time to run the bases today, the other time on a fielder's choice. Sydney Wallette just trying to keep it a 3-run deficit. She's confident her Bulldogs are not going to be shut out today. They had a promising half inning a moment ago. Right now, Gamble ahead in the count, 2-0. Berry 34-11 on the year. Swept the conference titles this year, 15-3 mark in the regular season. Beat a very good Birmingham Southern team twice in the conference championship. We saw Birmingham Southern last year here in Salem. I think when you look at the SAA, probably deserve a little bit more credit than they get. I know certainly Coach Stanley feels that way. You shouldn't have to win the league to get a bid into this championship. As Abby Gamble, again, your 7-hitter, hitting .253 on the year, trying to extend this inning with a payoff pitch coming her way. 1 on, 2 out, right back up the middle. All find their way over to the shortstop Hernandez, and she can't catch a break on that one. As Daniel able to get to the bag twice, has gotten the better of that duel.
Wondering exactly how close that play was. Let's take a look. Good pitch from Wallette. Looks like it probably would have been a better choice to that.
Well, I think the throw first, based on what we saw.
Yeah, either toss to first, toss to second. Especially with 2 outs on the board, though.
All right, here's our. This year, all of NCAA softball, Division I, Division II, and Division III do have replay. It debuts here in the championship in D3 as Wade Wilson has challenged the call. Coaches initiate the challenge up until the 6th inning, after which umpires are able to, but coaches can continue to challenge.
We get the opportunity of 2 challenges per team per game.
So this is as simple as who gets there first, and Coach Wilson should likely win that challenge. Now we will point out, just like in the Division I postseason, all reviews, they're not being monitored on site by the game officials. They're being monitored back in Pennsylvania at a central hub.
Well, and from this back view, from the front view, it looks like Hernandez is well before.
So I'll say the
slide.
fact that she's moving with all that dirt at her hand may have even masked the bag.
Yep.
It may not be as clear and obvious as we initially thought.
You can see by Hernandez's reaction actually after the play too. Caught her by surprise. And, you know, of course, trying to make sure that she doesn't overrun the plate or put the slide.
You're familiar with
danger.
this in other sports. The benefit is going to go right now to Berry because the initial call benefited Berry. They're going to have enough to overturn it, and we're about to find out whether or not Wade Wilson's successful. The out, and that'll end the inning. So the first review in the history of Division III softball pays. Berry will free, moving into the home half of the third. They're going to overturn the challenge.
In the number 9 position in the Texas Lutheran batting order, leading things off.
Home half of the third inning after a successful challenge from head coach Wade Wilson, the 8-time head coach of the year in conference. So something went wrong. 380 wins, 8 straight conference titles, including that national championship in 2019. As for the Bulldogs, Randolyn D, your third baseman these days, leading things off out of the 9 spot before we get back to the top of the order. D this year hitting .303, 13 RBI, We saw her in the final game last year when Wade Wilson had the presence of mind to get some players' names into that final box score when the score was pretty much out of reach, and Virginia Wesleyan would eventually be the national champion. But able to reward some of those student athletes who had put in time. Dee obviously an expanded role this year in the lineup. Brandolin's from the San Antonio area from Cibolo High School, sophomore. 45th game on the campaign. Right now behind the count 1-2 against Blair Hall, who every pitch she has thrown today has been with a 3-run lead. This one over towards second. Gamble has it 1 away.
And good tracking there by Gamble again. Getting some what look like routine pop flies. And we know sometimes the routine can get a little tricky, especially with the spin on the ball. Like there was a little bit of a spin out.
So back to the All-American, Kelly Jordan. Blair Hall struck her out last time. They're going to, yeah, that's a foul ball. I was looking at the wrong umpire.
And love the fact that Berry's finishing the play no matter what. Get the rep in, why not?
And Kelly Jordan's been a part of this Bulldogs run that included that national championship in 2019. Now a senior All-American out of Brenham, Texas. See if she has an ice cream named after her. Not offering on that one. And a 2-1 fought foul. Right now, 238 is the number of bases stolen by Kelly Jordan, the greatest all-time in Division III softball. She's been caught a grand total of 13 times. Two-two offering from Hall. And again, Jordan just fighting them off. She has exactly 1 home run in her career. That was back in that national championship season. But 87 runs batted in throughout her time in Seguin. And again, she just needs that ball to stay inside the line, and she'll look to beat your throw to the back. Bulldogs, 1 hit so far. It was a promising start last inning. A hit batter followed by the single from Bailey Hudgens. Next 3 hitters were retired. Strikeout, pop out, and ground out. As Jordan at the plate with 1 out, nobody on. Last year we saw the national championship feature the nation's top catcher and the nation's top base stealer. Fun battle between the two. Nation's second best base stealer happened to be that catcher. That's not fair, is it?
Jordan doing a good job of fighting off pitches that are a little bit too close to take, those 2 strikes. Bit more discipline we're seeing from these 2 teams in game 2.
We may not have enough softballs to play the next 2 ball games if Kelly Jordan keeps doing this.
There's nothing more annoying to a pitcher than a batter who just will not get out. Doesn't matter what you throw at them, they continue to foul it off. It becomes a 14, 15 pitch at bat.
Both women with that 26 on their back.
And just a good showing in this at bat by Jordan so far. Choosing good pitches, making sure that Hall comes to her. Can be difficult to do.
The payoff pitch to Jordan. Ball 4 after all of that. What a plate appearance by the All-American.
Now let's talk about why that's so productive, right? So we talked about fouling off multiple pitches, getting as many arm circles from Hall as possible, and also giving her teammates more of an opportunity to continue to time Hall, give them the advantage as much as possible because they're still down by 3 runs, still looking to produce here with 1 out on the board.
Here's Maddie Johnson, no stranger to having Jordan on the base paths. Question is, will we see stolen bases 239 and maybe 240 this inning? Maddie Johnson started her career at Division I, Texas A&M Corpus Christi with the Islanders. There goes Jordan. 239 career stolen bases. She lives up to the billing.
Able to dig it out. Good jump.
After her walk, 1 stolen base so far, perhaps another coming. As Johnson tries to push that one down the third base line. That was her 70th stolen base this year. That's her best single season. She had 61 in that national championship campaign. Even the year that was cut short by COVID had 23 stolen bases in 2020. And Johnson at the plate in that 2-hole, hitting .427 on the year. Trying to get the Bulldogs on the board, shut out in each of the first 2 innings. But Blair Hall gets the better of that exchange after walking the strikeout Maddie Johnson for the 2nd time.
Second base, number 5.
And Hall doing a really good job of keeping Maddie Johnson on her toes, keeping her off balance. We know that Johnson has the it factor in big games. That's what she's known for on this TLU squad. Hall doing a really good job.
Jordan looking for third, and she is safe. A bang, bang play. And we mentioned she's only been caught 13 times. And now they're going to ask for Berry's going to ask for a review. Not to be outdone after seeing TLU ask for a review. Coach Emily Stanley thinks they may have been able to catch Jordan out at third. The ruling was safe. Again, these umpires will not be asked to actually review the play. They'll be on headset with a command center back in Pennsylvania.
Each team is going to get 2 opportunities to review per game. So if you don't use it, you lose it. From that angle, well, it could go either way.
They might want to look at multiple angles. You're inclined to think that tag was on Jordan.
And a great play by the third baseman. Not a very good throw. Has to get over there quickly, playing a little bit in. Snatches the ball out of the air, makes the tag as fast as possible.
I think the first and that angle combined leads you to believe, but it's the standard. It's got to be clear. Jordan has the benefit of being called safe. And the initial ruling. And does that get her on the knee before that white shoe reaches the bag? And I think that's your conclusive look right there.
And big thanks to that team, the review team, where a lot of these plays are going to go all weekend long. And I think it's for each division, goes to the same spot. So.
Yeah, same command center that looks at Division I, and this week is looking at Division II and Division III. Of course, the Division II championship is back in Denver this year. Be relayed to these umpires either that the review has been upheld or changed. Initial ruling was safe, and it's been upheld. And again, it goes back to the fact the original call was safe, and so you have a pretty steep burden of saying conclusively that it was incorrect, and they did not believe they saw that. And I can understand how they reached that decision.
It was a tall order.
At that point,
for
you just
Berry.
don't know if her toe is on the bag or not.
Yep. Tall order for Berry's third baseman.
So Kelly Jordan, as many of you thought might have been preposterous when I suggested might steal both bases, is up to 240 in her career. But it is still a 3-0 lead for Berry with a chance to get out of the inning right here.
I will say that review technology is really cool for elevating the game, regardless of what division you're in. And there is the flip side of interrupting momentum for either team and for the pitcher.
Casey Martin shoots this one back to the wall. It'll hit the base of the wall. Jordan comes home, and Martin has herself an RBI double. Bulldogs are on the board. Their third straight year here in the national championship final week, looking to make it count.
And Leah Thornton out there in center field, doing the best she can with a ball off of the wall. A well-hit ball by Casey Martin. Just got to tip your hat there.
32nd RBI for Martin.
Yep. Leah Jordan sees that it's not going to be a ball that she can catch. Plays it one bounce, gets it in to do the least amount of damage.
Again, if that's not Kelly Jordan on the base paths, you might have runners on second and third right now.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Laura Hernandez. Was hit by pitch last inning. That looked to be a promising start to the second inning. First two batters would reach. They were both left. Laura, the sophomore, started her career in junior college at San Jacinto from the Houston area, from Missouri City, hitting just under 300 this year. We saw her last year in primarily a pinch hitter role. Went 3 for 6 with a home run. That was right here. She has fond memories of this venue. Just a sophomore. Bulldogs last year beat DePaul and Birmingham Southern before a best-of-3 game series against Virginia Wesleyan that went 3. Virginia Wesleyan took games 1 and then the final outing. As the Bulldogs team back this year with 6 players that were named All-Region and some familiar All-Americans. 2-2 right back to Hall. Over to first, and it's another inning in which the Bulldogs threaten. They do manage their first run as they have trimmed the Berry lead to 2. Vikings will look to claw that run back in the top of the 4th.
Leading off the top of the 4th inning for the Vikings, the right fielder, number 11.
There are mountains off in the distance, but with all the clouds, you can't see them. Still a beautiful backdrop as always here at Moyer Sports Complex, where we will crown, within the span of 6 days, a national champion here in Division III softball. In Rose, Sydney Gearbracht with you as Skylar Wallette, one of our Sydney Wallette, related to Skylar. Skylar out of eligibility these days. And both starting pitchers going strong in this one. This is Sydney Maroney at the plate, 0 for 1 today. Berry scored 3 in the first. Bulldogs of TLU finally pulled one back last half inning in the bottom of the 3rd. Sophomore Maroney trying to get something started here out of the 8-hole in the lineup. Those 3 runs in the first for Berry really turning some heads for folks who have followed TLU, of course. Sydney's been about as dominant of a pitcher as there's been in Division III this year. You mentioned top 10 in ERA in the country.
Yep.
Number 12, Leah Thornton.
See if she finally gets settled in, but clearly Berry's come in with some confidence.
Berry's done a good job of keeping Wallette off balance, and I think that's what you have to do when you have a pitcher that's as dominant. Not let her get her footing.
Leah Thornton, the 9-hitter coming up for a second time today, grounded out back in the second, 0 for 1 today. Was really a part of a big defense on the season. 5th-ranked Birmingham Southern was here in Salem last year. Can't get that bunt down, but in the bottom of the 6th in a game earlier this year against Birmingham Southern, big triple from Thornton, and then that was followed up by Katie White with a home run to get a victory and tell this team that they belonged, perhaps in the conversation of being among the best. See what Aaliyah can do here. The 1-1. Still showing bunt. That pitch off the mark.
And we saw a great defensive play from Aaliyah in the previous inning, and this is a player who's going to beat teams with her speed. So looking to just touch and go.
That ball hit her after, I believe, she was out of the box. And so we will have our umpires come together, but I, at the moment, believe Aaliyah Thompson will be out unless something else is on their mind. And at the moment, I think she...
Speaking of touch and go, looks like there's one touch. And...
Yeah, she's still in that box on the left hand. Together. There's a reason why they are working here in the post. We've grown really sensitive to the bats over in the rules that have redefined really what a slapper can and cannot do. But good old-fashioned rule that's always been in the books is if that ball bites you outside the box, you're out. But good look at from our crew on the replay. It appeared our umpires got it correct. Simply a foul ball. And Wallette completely had Thornton fooled there. Pitch off the mark, but she thought that was going to come in at her. Maroney, your runner on first. Took a stab at it, strike 3.
Left fielder, number 10, Katie White.
Back to the top of the order, Katie White. Mentioned first year all-conference as a freshman, was your newcomer of the year in the conference. 8 home runs, 40 RBI. Has already scored once today after singling in the first. She faces Wallette for a third time now, 1 for 2. That roller foul.
One of the challenges that hitters have is doing what they can throughout the game to challenge the pitcher to make adjustments. And that's really what this Berry team has forced Sydney Wallette to do. And Sydney Wallette, as she's made adjustments, it's now going to be Berry's opportunity to make adjustments as hitters.
Into the glove of Martin and a double play to get out of the inning. So the Vikings concede 1 in the bottom of the 3rd, and it remains just a 2-run lead. Those Bulldogs will get those bats back in their hands as your home team today. Bottom of the 4th coming up next. Berry hits into a double play to end any threat in the top of the 4th after scoring 3 in the first. They've been scoreless for the past 3 innings. keeping the door open here for TLU. Those starting pitchers still in this ball game. That's Blair Hall in the circle. Again, Berry has 3 very good options throughout the week in terms of whom to hand the ball to start a ball game. Bailey Hudgens, another player who's seen an expanded role this year from this time last year. And a nice stretch by Fry over at first. 1-1.
And again, Hall really seeing the importance of momentum again in this game. Hall has had that 3-run cushion since this game started. Her team came out hot with the bats. And she's really been able to capitalize on that, relax into each inning, and has been dominant so far.
All right, back to Faith Hernandez. She's had a busy day over there at shortstop so far. See what she can do with the bat. Struck out looking 0 for 1 today, back in the against Hall.
And so far this season, Hernandez has stepped up as a freshman with her bat. Had few errors at short. Did not have a great first in this game against Hall. But looks to be taking her cuts now. Making adjustments, which is what we love to see, at bat to at bat.
Another single. Got her. 2 away. And a little deja vu there as Blair Hall each time catches Hernandez looking.
Catcher, number 20, Sarah Metzer.
Sarah Metzer 0 for 1 today, popped out to the second baseman, back in the second. Now she'll go right back to Gamble, who will have to make a throw this time to Fry. And if you're Blair Hall, that's the inning you love to see, a 3-up, 3-down inning, a single-digit pitch count, and it gets your Vikings back to the plate.
The Bulldogs go down.
Just like that, we're on to the top of the 5th inning. I don't think a lot of people would have the Bulldogs pegged at just 1 run so far. Again, they are the only team that was here last year to make it back this year. They were your national runner-up in 2021. Our previous champion, of course, the Bulldogs in 2019. There was no tournament in 2020. So they got to be defending champs for an extra calendar year. What a job Wade Wilson has done there. He's been there now for 11 years. For the 8 years before he arrived, the program had a winning percentage of 46%. No postseason trips. Since he's arrived, they've won about 83% of their games. As this ball carried out towards center, squeezed in by Raines. One of the handful of returners from a year ago.
Catcher, number 5, Anna Jackson.
So Riley Jackson quickly retired with the fly out to center. That'll bring up Anna Jackson. I think Kelly Jordan was told Anna Jackson was your National Catch of the Year when she decided she was going to swipe 2 bags. I don't think Jordan cares about the resume of whoever's behind the plate.
I don't think so at all.
Jackson today, a single in the first, grounded down in the second. It's among the best of the best. Again, she was the player of the year in her own conference, the All-American. 9 home runs, 3 shy of the team leader, Morgan Fry, who is the dozen. And just 12 years into playing softball at Berry. And already they're among the last 8 teams playing here in 2022. That one foul. And their 5th NCAA tournament by way of 5 conference tournament championships. We haven't always had super regionals here in Division III. That started up a few years back. Berry Finally won their first of their 2 super regional appearances in the program's history, and as a result, punched their first ticket here. 2-2 from Sydney Wallette.
And Sydney Wallette has settled in nicely since that first inning. 6 hits in that first inning, but none since for Berry.
Yeah, Berry did themselves a great service by putting a crooked number up in that first inning, catching TLU off guard.
And sometimes you're not going to get the time to settle into the game. So it's important to come out bat swinging. And, you know, one of the things that Berry's known for is, one, having the hot bat.
That's a tough ball to play. And in the end, squeezed in by Laura Hernandez, who otherwise may have had the benefit of an automatic out, with the runner diverting from the baseline.
And again, when a ball is hit high like that, you can guarantee it's going to have a ton of spin on it. So not only was that challenging for Laura Hernandez to make sure she was staying underneath it to get a glove on it, also had to factor in the runner coming at her.
Everything's more entertaining with a runner coming at you. Morgan Fry singled and scored in the first, struck out to lead off the third, 1 for 2 today. And again, squares around to bunt. Absolutely. Your home run queen squares around and beats one out.
Well, and I love that Fry is just as likely to hit one over the fence as she is to lay one down
with
and
2
beat
outs.
it out with 2 outs. I mean, and talk about catching TLU off guard, by surprise.
Now let's see if her teammate Shelby Daniels can help her around. In second team all-conference, the sophomore with 23 RBI. She's reached base twice today, no hits though. She's 0 for 2. Fielder's choice and error. Daniel today has been stranded on third and stranded on second. She's going to do her best to make sure Fry doesn't have to be left on base. All this part of a 2-out rally here in the 5th.
Well, and what I also love about Fry is that not only does that keep TLU off balance, but it capitalizes on the energy that you can feel from the Berry dugout. They are going to bring a lot of energy. They're going to be loud, chants and cheers. It's one of the things that their coaches have shared is one of the favorite things about this particular squad and the culture of this team.
Looking for their first run since the first inning. They've been able to cling to a lead. Opposite field, that ball's going to get down. As Fry advances 60 feet to second. Maddie Johnson did her best to sell it. It doesn't matter if people think you're going to catch it or not, there's 2 outs.
Designated player, number 26, Claire Hall.
So back-to-back 2-out singles now. All she's hoping to do is keep a runner from rounding the bag and going to third.
It looks like Fry gets held up by her third base coach.
Well, if Blair Hall's not happy that that lead is not increased, she can help herself out right here. Already has an RBI single today, 1 for 2 with that RBI. Along the way, she's only given up 1 run on 2 hits. Head coach Emily Stanley in her 8th year with the program, 3rd as the head coach. Former infielder back at Purchase College up in New York. Right now has 2 on. Fry at second, Daniel at first. And pitch inside to Hall, who probably has a good grasp on the strike zone by now. And Hall and Hannah Gore have split most of the innings. They've got a good one in Madison Hollis as well. Slow ball, right side. And Martin able to get to Hernandez, no problem. So A little two-out rally with a couple of singles for Berry, but nothing more. It is still just a 3-1 affair as we move on. Hannah Gore comes in to spell Blair Hall. So Blair goes 4. And here in the bottom of the 5th, it's a pretty good option. The freshman from Roswell, Georgia. 95 innings of work this year, 16 victories to just 1 loss, a .88 earned run average, opposing hitters batting 140. If you remember any of those stats, you're doing well. We'll throw in that she's 5'6", just in case we have some savants listening. Bottom half of the 5th, Bulldogs have been limited to 1 run on 2 hits. Chassie Rains leads things off over 1 today with a ground out to the left side. First pitch she sees from Gore. Pot foul.
And one of the things we can expect from Gore, right? So coming into today, ERA of .88, 108 strikeouts on the season thus far. And then, like you shared, Lincoln, 95 innings. So we're going to see probably at least a strikeout per inning on average from Gore. And still going to be relying on their defense. Not necessarily any pitchers that have been so dominant that they're really only going to be strikeout pitchers. Every single team we've seen thus far has done a great job of utilizing their defense.
First 2 pitches, both strikes, as she faces the 8-hitter Rains. Got her.
And there's that strikeout.
Third base, number 8, Brandon D.
Works the ladder.
Every pitch thrown today by Berry has been with multiple run advantage.
Nice rise there from Gore.
Brandon D trying to bunt for a base hit. That ball dies. Fair territory. Well done. So D is on now, 1 for 2 today with the single. Just the 3rd hit for TLU.
Yeah, and that ball, Lincoln, just dies so that Fry can't even, nobody can get there. Fry still finishes the play, but safe, safe, safe all around for Brandon D, excuse me.
She is 27 for 30 on the base paths. If you are the base runner in front of this woman, you feel like you have to steal some bases.
Yes.
Make
absolutely.
some room for Kelly Jordan, who walked her last time up in the 3rd and swiped both 2nd and 3rd. Tying run at the plate in the form of Jordan. Now, we mentioned only has 1 career home run.
I think it's worth mentioning again, just in case we have some humans that are joining us. Jordan is the Division III all-time steals leader and continues to solidify that number by adding 2 stolen bases so far today.
And her first time to see Hannah Gore, who's relieving Blair Hall. And this is where Blair Hall's pitch count might start to escalate. If Jordan has her way against the fresh right arm. Just keep fighting those off. Berry today, 3 runs on 8 hits, all 3 runs in the first when they had 5 singles. Bulldogs have just collected their 3rd hit of the game with the bunt from D.
We certainly hope coming into the championship weekend of all championship weekends, that your team is peaking at the right time, right? So there's the peaks during conference, maybe a little bit of a valley in conference if you can swing it, and then so that you can be peaking again for postseason. Many of these teams have just seen a steady incline or have been dominant all year long. And Kelly Jordan, I think, is a really great example of a player who doesn't try to do too much and does what she does well consistently and is playing some of her best ball right now.
They appealed the swing, said she did not go. One on, one out for the Bulldogs, trailing by a pair. Again, Jordan, the senior All-American. Last year was 7 for 17 here in Salem. Only stole 2 bases last year. Some folks wanted their money back. Quick hop, and they'll get the lead runner. So D with a nice bunt for the base hit. Wiped off the base paths, 2 away. Jordan will stay on after the fielder's choice. That's one of those rare situations where they may not have the batter, but they'll be able to get the lead out a little bit easier.
Well, an out's an out, and looks like Berry's doing a good job so far of backing up their second pitcher so far this game.
And Jordan is 3 for 3 today. As we've seen aggressive base running from all of our teams so far that we've seen today. For the most part, it's paid off.
Jordan stacking that third stolen base rather.
That ball was right about where it needed to be. Shelby Daniels just could not secure it. If she had, you might have had a chance to have Jordan right there.
Yep.
And then it looked like they've gotten her wrist tangled up with the runner. So now Maddie Johnson comes to the plate. Again, still representing your tying run. And if you're the third baseman Jackson, you have to respect the batter squaring around, but at the same time, you have to protect third base from Kelly Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Kelly each year gets the team manager who cleans those uniforms something nice. There's not a single game she hands her uniform over.
It's not covered in dirt. That's what it's there for.
And Maddie Johnson at the plate has struck out twice, both times against Blair Hall. Let's see if she's happy to see Hannah Gore instead. With 2 outs, out towards left, coming in is White, and they'll strand Jordan on the base paths. So the Bulldogs still stuck on a lone run as we move on to the 6th inning. Vikings looking for some insurance for their new pitcher. Back at the Moyer Sports Complex, top half of the 6th, and now a little bit of concern starting to creep in now. Sydney Wallett's done her job after conceding 3 runs on 5 hits in the first inning. There are 4 consecutive zeros on the scoreboard, leading us into the 6th. Along the way, the Bulldogs have just been able to find 1 run on 3 hits. And the first pitch shot right back into center from Abby Gamble.
And if you don't have that one hot inning, you see Sydney Wallett's pitching a great game. The challenge is that Berry was able to stack them in 1 inning. If you spread out those 9 hits over the course of these next 5 innings, you actually might have a scoreless game.
That might be the final pitch from Wallett, as Wade Wilson, who's probably known her most of her life, will come out and make a change. We will step aside. Top half of the 6th, Berry with a leadoff single from Abby Gamble. A pitching change for the Bulldogs.
For Berry, the right fielder, number 11, Sydney Maroney.
Junior college transfer out of Kilgore Junior College. Amanda White is the 2nd pitcher of the day for the Bulldogs. Last year's national runner-up. This is the Salem debut for White, who this year 50 innings, 1.52 ERA, 8 wins, just 1 loss, and her job is to keep it at just a 2-run deficit. Here's Sydney Maroney out of the 8th spot for Berry, who today against Sydney Ouellette was 0 for 2, including double play that would wipe her off the base paths back in the 4th. That ball hangs up there. Didn't think it would initially, but Kelly Jordan underneath it. And then trying to tag on the play is Abby Gamble. And she does. How about that for aggressive running?
Yeah, that's good base running there by Gamble.
I mean, Jordan, I guess her momentum was slightly pulling her away from the field, but she was not very far out when she caught that, but nice work by Abby Gamble.
That's definitely a ball that you want to, that's an out you want to get for your pitcher, for sure.
And it's Thornton with a runner in scoring position and 1 away now. Thornton known for her speed. And we now have 2 softballs on the field. That was not a rule change this year. And second pitcher on the day for the Bulldogs, Amanda White. She's from Lockhart, Texas. Pretty good spot for barbecue. Off the glove, and again the speed pays off. Thornton, when you can execute a bunt, and Thornton takes another 60 feet on top of it all. Wow. Berry just full of heads-up base running here in the 6th inning.
And like you shared, Lincoln, Thornton's going to beat teams with her speed, and then there's a really great cue from her first base coach.
How in the world do you see a window there to take second?
Yep. That's just trusting your team and trusting your first base coach there, following a game plan.
Just recognize nobody initially was on the bag and trusting you'll win a foot race. Again, we have in quotes, beats teams with her speed.
Yep.
It's a pretty accurate scouting report. Can Berry find its first runs since the 1st inning? Again, their first ever journey here in the national championship among the final 8 teams. This is your 4 seed, TLU, versus 5 seed, Berry. Matchup, in theory, as tight as it gets. But Berry's unimpressed with the Bulldogs' resume. And they will not try to tag up as Chassie Rains, solid throw from the outfield skirt.
Third base, number 16, Riley Jackson.
Riley Jackson today, 2 singles and a flyout so far. Looking to do a little more. .28 RBI. She's got a teammate 60 feet away, and finally Berry strikes once again. 2 runs come home on the RBI double from Riley Jackson here in the 6th inning. And it's the largest lead of the day for the Vikings.
A well-hit ball that just scoots past Rains in the outfield. Actually, it looks like Rains doesn't take the best angle she could, cuts over a little bit too sharply. Needs to take a little bit more of a dull angle, more towards the fence. Just to cut that ball off.
And Anna Jackson's been hit by the pitch. Could have left those shin guards on. Well, 2 runs scored on that double from Jackson, and part of that's because Leah Thornton was standing on second after taking those extra 60 feet. Here's Morgan Fry. And they're going to pinch run for Riley Jackson.
And Fry laid down a beautiful bunt in her last at bat.
See Grace Hamilton, the freshman, her 26th game on the year, primarily a pinch runner.
Grace Hamilton. Hamilton, pinch running at second for the Vikings.
So Morgan Fry today, 2 for 3 with a run scored, a couple of singles, including one last inning. That's when she squared around to bunt. This time, looks more inclined to make this an 8-1 ball game, if she can find the right pitch to groove. This is the most runs TLU has given up all postseason. The previous mark was 3 against Chapman in the regional when they run ruled Chapman 16-3. It's also the fewest runs dating back to their regional opener, a 1-0 8-inning final. As a touch on third, the force out. And ultimately 7 Berry batters come to the plate. 2 more score. Insurance for Berry. They're up by 4. Seagulls of Salisbury and their fans waiting in the wings, making the reasonable trek from Maryland.
Your attention, please.
Marge Knight, the longtime head coach of those Seagulls, stepping down after the 2020 campaign. One of her disciples returning to campus to take over these past couple of years. And Marge has even accepted a role as an assistant coach on the team. Pretty cool week coming up for that historic program. But right now, it's another former national champion in the Bulldogs who they have not tasted a defeat this early in a championship. Still not out of it just yet. Lincoln Rose, Sydney Gearbrack. Carrie Harvey Cutter, our spiritual advisor. And a great ambassador for the city of Salem. As this ball out towards left. White able to track it down 1 away. No, but in reality, what a job Salem has done over the years. Synonymous, of course, with the Stag Bowl for all those decades for Division III football, Division III basketball at the Civic Center. This weekend, juggling both softball as well as the lacrosse national championships for D3. And everybody, there's a reason why they keep winning the bids to host more and more. Always such positive reviews, and looking forward to making their way back here on the edge of the Blue Ridge Mountains. That ball just beyond the reach. As you see, Milliken waiting as well for their opportunity to shine here on the big stage. We're not even halfway through day number 1. Game 2 featuring these Bulldogs and the Vikings of Berry. I think folks just now tuning in might be a little surprised by the score. Berry's first ever trip to the national championship. Bulldogs made their first trip in 2019. Came away as national champions convincingly. As now 2 up, 2 down, Hernandez retired. I'll give way to Bailey Hudgens.
Designated player, number 12, Bailey Hudgens.
We've seen 4 teams, and just all 4 of their journeys have been so different. Again, that first game featured a WPI team with 13 healthy players, and they lost one of them in that first game.
Who hopefully will make a comeback.
Yes, who
Fingers crossed,
it appeared it was not as bad as it could have been. Simply just had some ice on the forehead. And was celebrating a home run with teammates.
Yes.
It's a good sign.
Good sign.
In all aspects. Anna Gore comes on in relief and has helped shut down the Bulldogs, who played their only run in the 3rd against starter Blair Hall. But Christopher Newport, CNU, held on for the win against WPI. So CNU awaits the winner of this game tomorrow night, while WPI will face tomorrow at 11 Central in our first game of the day, the team that comes up short here. That will be our first of 2 straight elimination games to kick off day 2 tomorrow. First 2 batters, Martin and Hernandez, retired. Hudgens at the plate right now, ahead of the count, 2-1. Now 3-1.
Been very few hitters counts with 3-1 thus far this game. Seen a lot of 2-0, seen a lot of 1-2, seen a lot of full counts, but very rarely a 3-1.
That's not too surprising based on the resumes of all these pitchers we're seeing. With that said, there will be no 3-up, 3-down inning here in the 6th. Hudgens with the walk. Her second time to run the bases, as she's 1 for 2 today. And they are going to run for her, as the DP will come off. It'll be Kirsten Williams, who we saw last year as a pinch runner in 3 games. She's seen a lot more playing time this year. This will be her 41st appearance on the season for the junior.
For TLU, Kirsten Williams.
As Kirsten runs for Bailey Hudgens.
Now batting for Texas Lutheran, shortstop, number 30, Faith Hernandez.
That'll bring up Faith Hernandez. 0 for 2, twice has been caught looking at strike 3. Both of those occasions against the previous pitcher, Blair Hall. Her first time to see Hannah Gore today.
And that's the pitch we've seen Faith Hernandez take all day. Just doesn't want it.
I'll point out there's no guarantee the Bulldogs see the top of their order again in this ball game. They would love for Hernandez just to at least extend this inning to get them a little closer to Jordan and company in the 7th. Slow roller up the middle, but Gamble up to the task, underhands it to Daniel. 4 batters come to the plate for the Bulldogs. It'll be their bottom 3rd and the bottom of the 7th, but first Berry with a chance to put a little more insurance on the board here in Salem.
For TLU at the bottom of the 6th, no runs. Now batting for Berry in the top half of the 6th.
8 fan bases converging here, as you see the blending of the blue of Milliken, Trine, as well as these Berry Vikings, who have final chance here in the top of the 7th. Try to add to a 4-run lead. They finally tacked on a couple runs last inning in the 6th. As for the Vikings, this is Shelby Daniel. She's reached base all 3 times. She's been stranded on each of the 3 bases so far. Sure that deserves something. Stranded on 3rd in the 1st, stranded on 2nd in the 3rd, stranded on 1st in the 5th.
And again, Berry having a great offensive showing in their first game of this tournament. And 11 hits is not necessarily going to be a make or break in terms of a win, but they've been able to string them together in strategic moments.
And they did it against Wallette, who's been brilliant this year, but had a rough start as Daniel retired, and the Bulldogs are 1 out closer to getting back to the plate.
It's a really good spot, about a ball and a half off the plate.
Amanda White in relief. As Wade Wilson stays at the back of the phone book for his pitching today. Blair Hall, an RBI single in the 1st, a line out and a ground out since then. So she, again, stays in the ball game for her bat. Shoots this one out towards right. Maddie Johnson squeezes it in for out number 2.
So we've seen a lot of pitchers default to the outside, either fastball, curve, if lefty, they're screwball, and then come back again with an off-speed pitch. And the kicker for a hitter is that most of the time, if you're on time for the hard stuff on the outside corner, you're going to be on time for a changeup, but not necessarily on the outside corner. So there's that added challenge for a hitter to make sure that you hit a changeup solid if you're going to choose it, or if you get fooled.
We saw Abby Gamble single and score last inning. I think she was the last batter to face Wallette before Amanda White came on to face the next 6 hitters last inning. Gamble off the handle, and the Bulldogs get the 3 up, 3 down they need. Last year's national runner-up, a couple years removed from a national championship, have 3 outs for a 4-run comeback in the 7th.
Now batting for Texas Lutheran in the bottom of the 7th inning, catcher number 20.
Fans of CNU and Milliken, heck, we even have a fan of Emory and Henry, not here this year, but out of the ODAC, who's one of our great hosts each year here in Salem. And a shot back towards center. Bulldogs trying to ignite something here in the bottom of the 7th instead. Bulldogs are down to their final 2 outs. A little bit of optimism, a charge in the bat from Sarah Metzer, who did that last year, except it carried last year. Instead, 1 away.
Thornton doing a great job of tracking that ball. Has a great jump. Checks and sees where the fence is, and then is able to recover, get behind the ball.
Mentioned 7, 8, and 9 hitters due up this inning. So no guarantee we see the top of the order for the Bulldogs before tomorrow. They'd like for that to change. Chastity Raines is just her 3rd plate appearance today. And this is a slightly more anemic offense than Wade Wilson's accustomed to seeing. Usually he's got to ice down that arm after sending everybody home around 3rd. Instead, 2 up, 2 down. Raines is out on the bang-bang play.
It's a good little piece of hitting from Chastity Raines. Just not able to quite beat it out. And Shelby Daniels obviously makes a great play, almost loses the ball there, but able to get rid of it.
Bottom of the 7th, 2 outs. Brandolyn D, 1 for 2 today, singled her last time up in the 5th. They just need her to reach any way she can. Kelly Jordan in the top of the order on deck.
Well, what's interesting is that, right, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. This is really the aggression that we needed from TLU at the beginning of the game to match some of the intensity that Berry was bringing offensively in that 1st inning.
Jordan was the only runner today to score for the Bulldogs. That's when she walked and then stole 2 bases, finally brought home by Casey Martin at the time to make it a 3-1 ball game. We were stuck on that score up until 2 runs in the top of the 6th added to the Berry cause. 9-hitter D. This could do it. Berry Vikings are moving on to the winner's bracket tomorrow. The Vikings, in their program's history, still have never lost a game on the championship stage. If they can keep it that way, they'll be national champions one day at a time. They're 1-0.
An impressive showing by Berry, both offensively and for their pitching staff. Really solid performance. TLU is going to have to come up with something now that they're in the loser's bracket, because there's going to be some tough competition there as well.
It will be tomorrow. TLU against WPI in our first elimination game, currently slated for 11 a.m. Eastern Time. 3rd game of the day will feature the victorious Vikings of Berry against the team that only has 1 loss all year long, our number 1 seed, CNU. We are just halfway through day number 1 here in Salem. Game 3 coming up next here on NCAA.com. For Sydney Gearbrecht, I'm Lincoln Rose. Big thanks to our entire crew. We'll see you later on.